It just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. It just keeps on. It just keeps on going. So, as many of you may well know, a few hours after the Vegas attack, someone pulled a Cybertruck up in front of Trump Tower in Vegas, and the in a Cybertruck, and the Cybertruck exploded, and a body was found in the driver's seat. And I was holding off on making this, but we now know who the body was, or at least we have a fairly good idea who the body was. So, once again, I'm using New York Post. Yeah, whatever. The Vegas Cybertruck bomber's name was Matthew Levelsberger. He's revealed to have been a Special Forces soldier overseeing drones, as a first pic shows him posing in camo with a rifle. Cybertruck bomber Matthew Levelsberger worked in Special Forces overseeing drone operations and maintenance, the Post has learned. He's pictured for the first time wearing camouflage and posing with a rifle atop a snowy mountain. Levelsberger, 37, was last stationed at Camp Panzer Kaserne, just southwest of Stuttgart, Germany, where he worked as a remote and autonomous systems manager for the Army. So, wow, what are the odds that both of the guys who did terrorist attacks within like 4 hours of each other, 3 or 4 hours of each other, are both U.S. Army veterans who served at the same time? And we'll get into that in a minute. Yep. In that position, Levelsberger was responsible for the operations, maintenance, and integration of drones in the military, according to the Army. Levelsberger's military experience was highly focused on technology and engineering, working a series of Army roles that had him working intimately with some of the most critical intelligence capabilities in the Special Forces. He also joined the Green Berets in 2006, first as a communications specialist until 2015, working with military communication systems such as computers and radio, according to his LinkedIn profile. Levelsberger has been in the Army for the last 19 years, leaving him just 1 year away from full military retirement benefits. Wow. So he been in the Army since, what is that? If he's 37, he's been in the Army since he was 18. Damn. He previously served from 2015 to 2023 as a Special Forces Intelligence and Operations Specialist, meaning he would have had access to highly sensitive military information. His work in that role involved studying the enemies with biometrics, cultural studies, technical data analysis, and vulnerability assessments, as well as targeting. Prior to taking his most recent drone manager role, he worked as a Special Forces Operations Manager and Team Sergeant in the Army, where he listed his responsibilities as personnel, project, and risk management, operation planning, field and security operations, and technology integration. So, and that's the interesting thing, is one of the things about this entire scenario that's got a lot of people having like a big thunk moment, having a big think, is the fact that like this truck bomb was actually really bad. It was not a good truck bomb. Like you basically just pack the bed with like fireworks and like gasoline and like lighter fluid and shit like that, and had it somehow kicked off the explosion. Um, how he managed to pull that off, nobody's sure. We don't know if there was a timer set up, because he shot himself, and we'll cover that in a second. How he managed to pull this off is nothing short of miraculous. He also listed a contract position with General Dynamics from 2011 to 2012 as a hyperspectral image integrator, during which he engineered and fielded the first mobile standoff hyperspectral imaging light guard Minotaur system, his profile states. Hyperspectral imaging is a highly advanced technological capability that allows operators to analyze objects in terrain beyond what the naked eye can see. He listed his skills in that position as explosives detection, government contracting, technology integration, and technical writing. So that's all for this article so far. But yeah, this is just insane, man, insane. And like I said, like the overlap between him and Din Jabbar is just it's insane. But like I said, he shot himself, this guy. So that would imply that he had some kind of timer that he triggered before he shot himself, or that this was all a giant setup and they just shoved a body in the front seat of this car, of the Cybertruck, and then had it self-drive itself to in front of Trump Tower. And I don't have the tweet pulled up for this, but Elon Musk noted that the way the Cybertruck is designed, it actually, if you'll notice, the Cybertruck really didn't like flare out. It's solid steel. I think it's what they make it out of, is steel. But it channeled the explosion upward, or according to Elon anyway. It channeled the explosion upward, like the blast that went out, like it didn't even crack the windows, and it was sitting pretty close, to the door of Trump Tower, Vegas. But also, just like it was like fireworks and stuff. It was just insane. Like if you could, like yeah, look at that. Look, let me full screen this. See, fireworks and shit going off. See, the blast was enough to shake the camera, but it wasn't like I said, it didn't even crack the windows because, as Elon says, the way the Cybertruck is designed, as well as the materials it's made out of, was able to prevent the car from the explosion from blowing. It channeled it upward and away from the windows. So it's just crazy how all this happened. And then, like I said, official release from the Las Vegas PD is that he suffered a gunshot wound to the head.
Now, further complicating this identification of this individual, we also discovered through the coroner's office that the individual had sustained a gunshot wound to the head prior to the detonation of the vehicle. One of the handguns was found at his feet inside of the vehicle. Now, further complicating this identification of this individual.
So we have yet another, another person who just managed to die before we could question him. We still don't know if the gunshot wound was self-inflicted or not. But no, the real crazy thing is his connections with Shamsun Din Jabbar. They don't have any direct connections. They were never in the same unit or anything, but they were serving in the military at the same time. They were both stationed at Fort Bragg. Now it's called Fort Liberty, but they were both stationed at Fort Bragg. They both used the Turo app to rent their trucks that they used for the attacks. Both trucks were EVs. That's could just be a coincidence. Of all the things about it, that's the only thing I think is just outright coincidental. But it could be some kind of connection. But still, what are the odds? And then they do similar style attacks at the same time. I mean, the difference is Din Jabbar's IEDs didn't go off. So both men behind Wednesday's dual suspected terrorist attack in New Orleans and Las Vegas previously served at the same North Carolina Army base, the Post has learned. Shamsu Din Jabbar, who killed 14 people, now it's 15, when he rammed his truck through New Year's crowds on Bourbon Street, was an Army veteran who lived in Fayetteville in 2012. He was assigned to the Army's 82nd Airborne Division, which is headquartered in Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, in 2013, according to a Facebook post by the division's 1st Brigade Combat Team in November 2013. Cybertruck bombing suspect Matthew Livelsberger was an active duty Green Beret when his rented Tesla truck exploded at the entrance of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas hours after Jabbar's attack. To become a Green Beret, as he did in 2006, soldiers must attend the John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center and school located at Fort Liberty, meaning he would have been there at least that year. He also lived in North Carolina at the same time as Jabbar, albeit in Charlotte, about 2.5 hours away from Fort Liberty, according to his LinkedIn profile. The FBI said Thursday that there is no known connection between the Cybertruck blast and the New Orleans attack, despite them happening hours apart on New Year's Day. And them both being rented through Toro, and them both being rented by veterans. Well, one a veteran, the other active duty. But, yeah, this whole thing is just weird, man. It's just weird. Additionally, Fort Liberty is one of the largest military installations in the world with a population of roughly 52,000 military personnel. Fort Liberty's name was changed from Fort Bragg in June 2nd, 2023, as part of Biden's administration's effort to rename military installations named after Confederate officers. Gay. The facility had been named for General Braxton Bragg, a slaveholding Southern officer and native of North Carolina. So, yeah, let's just continue to erase our history, shall we? But yeah, they were, they both served at Fort Bragg. It's just the connections. Like, again, they did the same thing or try to do very similar things using the same method at the same time. Like, what are the odds of that? They're very small. Something is going on here. Something's not stirring the Kool-Aid. Do the algorithm stuff. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Do me a favor. Throw me a bone.